Welcome to Ollie and Lance.
I'm Ollie.
And I'm Lance, and we are so excited to have you guys here today. Why are you laughing? All right, yes, so it's part 2, guys. Part 2 of our love story. I know we've been gone for 2 weeks, but we have so many views, so many likes, and a couple comments just explaining how you guys are excited to hear our story and stuff like that. And like, it's been really cool. We've been excited to get back here. We just had a hectic couple of weeks trying to prepare for marriage, man. We've had so many different things coming up and things that we're trying to accomplish. Right, babe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are some of the things that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks?
So we finally finalized the caterer.
For food.
And then as well, just speaking with the photographer, speaking with the DJ to kind of get some music sent out, like an idea of it. And as well with decorations. So my best friends are paying like a decorator to decorate things for our wedding. So it's just been a lot having to do that. And then as well, at work, I'm in school, I'm in nail tech. So all over the place.
Yeah, she's pretty busy. So that's one thing I'm really excited about in our first season of marriage. Just her kind of slowing down a little bit, because ever since I've met her, she's like never not busy. Like, she's busy all the time, and it's a good thing because she doesn't want to like be idle, but sometimes it could just be like, girl, you need to relax.
It's too much.
So in our first season, she'll be, making some changes as far as like nails, school, work, so that way, we can really prioritize killing the first year of marriage and just putting God first, putting each other first, and really succeeding at just money management, time management, stuff like that,
Yeah.
But let's get right into it, man. It's part 2. Last week we left you guys off on the confirmation that we had at the store with the guy, but she was not convinced, y'all. She was not convinced, and it broke my heart a little bit. But can you just kind of explain just like everything that you were going through, as far as just like, like later on she kind of like backed away from me a little bit and just like try to create some distance, because like I was intentional. I was, really just trying to put my best foot forward. And I knew that if I was going to have her in my life, I don't know how long I could have been her friend. Like, I saw a woman that I wanted, and I saw a woman of God that I wanted to pursue. So it was kind of hard to do that. But can you just kind of explain, like, everything that you were going through?
Explain what? Like, how I, like, what? Because there's, like, a lot of different parts. You want me to explain?
Just, like, as far as just, like when you created distance, and just, like, why you did that, but why it was kind of hard to, have distance and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, we grew our relationship, like, becoming best friends. So we would talk all the time, and I knew that he was a man of God. That was, like, my first experience besides my stepfather in my life. So it was very, like, interesting and just really, like, amazing to have, like, a friend that was into the Lord and, like, into praying and really being faithful. So as we were growing our friendship, he did tell me that he, liked me, and that, he had intentions of, like, pursuing something. And at first I was like it's like a whole mix of stuff, because at first I was in a sense like open, okay, you never know where it goes, but then at the same time I knew that I didn't want to be in anything. So it was like kind of hard, because at first it was like, okay, let me be open to it, never know. But then once I realized, I just want to like be single right now and focus on me, focus on my relationship, focus on school, and really just whatever I, in the sense, like wanted to do, I want to focus on that, not being in a relationship. So as time went on, where we got close, and he would, inform me or like remind me about how he's feeling, or wanting to be intentional about like maybe going on a date or something, I felt like I had to be like, hey, look, like, I just want to be single right now. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship. So there was a point, one of my close friends actually, they had told me to, like, they were like, look, we understand you want to be his friend. We understand that you guys are really close and that you guys, like, are building a relationship. But she was like, if you don't want to pursue anything right now, like, you need to just cut him off. So then, this is, like, her 5th time saying this. So I was like, you know what? Let me just cut him off. So I just ended up not texting him. And then, like, a week went by where we didn't communicate.
And and mind you, this is from every day where we're talking every day. We're FaceTiming, and we're just like really like, even though yes, I liked her, we really got really close. Mm-hmm. So after a week of us not talking, I was like, kind of just like, yo, like, in my head, I'm like, she got a man. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm sick to my stomach. I'm like, the enemy was kind of playing my thoughts and just everything. But what happened?
So yeah, so it's true because that's something we would talk all the time. We became like besties, and it was really hard to like, in a sense, cut him off, which is why it was like her 5th time telling me this, because I felt like, no, this is my friend. Like, I don't want to like just cut him off. Like, I care about him, but I just don't feel that way, and I want to like just chill right now. So long story short, she told me, and I was like, you know what, I have to stop being selfish, because that's something else that I was not being told, but just more like, it could be a possibility like where you're leading him on, and it's like, in a sense, like selfish. Like, if you're trying to be selfless, you want to do things to protect the other person's feelings. So I was like, you know what, like, I'm being selfish by still being in his life, because there was times where he would tell me too, like, if you don't want to be with me, just stop talking to me.
That's not what I said. I was just like, I would let her know, hey, like, I was trying to be direct. I was like, because I didn't know how this dating thing worked as a Christian. I knew, like, as a man in the world, somebody don't like you, cut them off. Like, forget about them. But I knew that I really thought that like I felt something like I felt like God kind of speak to me, and also I wanted to handle things a mature way. So I didn't just want to be like, oh, like, forget you don't like me. I wanted to figure out how to do it. But mind you, I've never seen dating done the right way. I've always seen just, the wrong way. I've done it the wrong way. So I was just like really adamant on not like letting it end bad.
Yeah.
Like,
which is good. I feel like that's appropriate. Like, I feel like when you build a relationship with somebody, a friendship, or even if it's like new, I think that you should be intentional about not just like ghosting somebody, because it just ruins stuff for no reason. Like, it's just creating this like big barrier that didn't have to be established if you would have just said like, hey, I X, Y, and Z, I think it should be like this, and then kind of like go your separate ways. But it's like, it's a communication base. So I know that you were doing it in the right manner. But like, again, like, you can say like, in my selfishness, I was really just more like, if you feel like you cannot be in my life because you like me, just you cut me off then. Like, we both pretty much felt the same way. Like, so like he would tell me, you cut me off if you like you cut me off if you don't want me in your life, and I was like, you cut me off if you can't handle being in my life.
And it was hard because like we wanted to be in each other's lives, but we just didn't know how. Like, I wanted to have her in my life as a certain way, she wanted to have me in her life as a certain way. So we really I wish, like, well, not wish, because everything happens for a reason, but what should have happened is we should have had some healthy space from each other, like, for a little bit
more boundaries.
But it was just really hard. We didn't know how to do it. Like, we never seen it done before. So I'm trying to give us some grace, because we're trying to do this the best we can and really honor God through everything. But man, like, during that time, she was like backing away, and like I could tell things were going on. So really, I was like going to God and asking for more confirmation. I was praying, and God kept giving me confirmation. So at that point, I'm just like, man, like, okay, God's giving me confirmation. She's still saying no. What do I do? But I really had to understand that what's for you will always be for you. You do not have to force your way into something that God has established for you. And you don't have to put yourself in people's lives if God doesn't want you in their lives. Like, there's timing and there's God's will for your life. So what is for you will always be for you.
It's
and
true.
She was for me, but I couldn't force it. I had to wait, and I had to chase after God. That's one thing I did want to focus on. It was like, okay, even though she's not in my life right now, and even though we are like just kind of like at different places, I'm gonna chase after Jesus, because.
But I was really never not in his life, y'all. Like, don't let him make it seem like not in my life. Like, it was a week.
It wasn't a week.
It was a week.
It was a week, but it was like on and off though. Like,
it was a week.
It had happened a couple of times.
It was a week. It was a week.
And when I tell you I was losing my mind, man.
Not to be mean that it was a week, but it's just more that it was a week.
Yeah.
And it was a little like, in a sense, like, hard, because I was like, dang, like, we became like, I never knew this was a real thing, but you do build an emotional soul tie. That's what the word is. You know how there's the sexual soul tie and then there's an emotional soul tie. You do build an emotional soul tie when you're like constantly talking to each other and like telling each other secrets and like just being like in a sense like verbally intimate.
Right.
The light came on.
What?
The light on the top of the tree.
Really? Oh wow. Her Christmas tree light came on.
It wasn't on the whole time. So yeah. So I didn't realize that was like a real thing, but once I became friends with Lance, I realized it shortly.
Right.
After.
But I still wanted to be persistent. So can you just kind of tell them like that perspective of just like being persistent and just like what came out of that for you?
So I think that men should be persistent. And they should be the one to pursue, right? Like a man who finds a good
and how
wife
is like different,
thing.
Yeah.
I think like a man should pursue. I don't think that a woman should do it. And I would say like the biggest difference between like Lance's pursuit and like in a sense like other men that I've been with pursuit is just more like the what's that word? The selflessness in the pursuit. Because I think, like, not to say it, like, in a negative way, but, like, in the process of us, like, getting closer and him, like, pursuing me, he was very humble. Especially, like, with the conversation where I'd be like, hey, you know, like, I don't necessarily feel this way or I'm not, like, ready for it, you know? And, like, he was just always so, like, joyful and selfless. Like, I don't want to, like, you know, like, you're good. I don't want to, like, pressure you and stuff like that. And he would just always, like, in a sense, like, want to have clarity and like speak from a place of the Lord, like, okay, like, do you feel like whenever we did talk about possible relationships, it was like in the sense of like, what do you feel like God is telling you?
It was
like,
always about God. It was never about me.
It wasn't just like I'm attracted to you and like I like you and be mine, because right. I feel like
she was fine though.
Okay. But there's definitely a difference, like, when you're pursuing with the intention of, like, what God has told you to pursue with, which is, like, pursuing to be, you know, have a marriage and, like, the way that you pursue, then just different, like, I'm pursuing somebody because I find them attractive. Obviously, attractive is the first thing. Like, you see somebody, you think they're attractive, and it creates, like, an interest. And then once you communicate, you're like, okay, they actually have some things that we have in common that I like, that, like, I would want to pursue. So that was the biggest difference. Like, it was mainly, like a God foundation over like an attraction foundation, because right. in his pursuit he never did anything that was like quote unquote in a sense like sexualizing me, if that makes sense.
I tried to really make sure, because this was the first woman that I had pursued after genuinely coming out of college and like living a life where I was just like not caring as much and doing things on my own, and even though I was a Christian, I still was kind of like, you know, had that worldly mindset towards women. Yeah. And after college, I really told the Lord, I was like, God, I want the next woman that I'm attracted to be my wife. So don't let me be attracted to anyone else. And when I tell you, I was in my word, I was in my time with God. And when I tell you the time, when I saw her, I knew, you know, like, it wasn't like, oh, maybe God's speaking to me. No, I was like, yeah, you know, so it was pretty cool. So let's keep moving. So, right, we're going through this, you know, like, just like kind of figuring out, all right, man, what should we do? I'm getting more confirmation from the Lord. The Lord is speaking to me, and I'm like getting confused, and I'm just like battling. But then we get to a point to where like our friendship is really growing. She had a death in the family, or not a death in the family, but she had a lot going on with her family, and she really leaned on me. And yeah, a death, and she had a lot going on with like your grandmother and stuff like that. So during that time, I just really realized, man, like, I love this girl, you know, like, even though yes, we weren't even dating yet, I just genuinely had love for her, you know, and I don't know what it was, but man, like, God kind of shined his light on her, you know, and I was just like, I knew, man, she was special. She was different, you know, like, she wasn't one of these just like, oh, life's all about me, I'm pretty, you know, like, that wasn't her. Like, man, she was really down to earth, and she really loved Jesus. So that's what really made me like her. And even through those hard times, like I can tell she leaned on the Lord, because she would call me to pray. She would call me to just like really talk about what's her purpose, and we would have all these conversations. So yeah. I was like, I end up letting it go. I'm like, all right, God, I don't want to force this thing. I really want you to establish it. So God, if we got to be friends for 4 years, I remember telling the Lord this, even though I did not want to be friends for that long, and 9 months was still kind of long.
That's kind of crazy you told God that.
Yeah, but I genuinely remember right before you started liking me, like, I never told you this, but I told God, I was like, God, I don't want to intervene. I don't want to mess this thing up. So God, I take my hand off, you know. And then I would say around January is when like you started to get some confirmation yourself. You started to kind of feel some things, kind of take them through that process.
So it was closer to Valentine. It was more like in February.
Yeah, like her birthday, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was just more because like we started to hang out, and like, you know, he had already told me his intention, like what he wanted.
So we started hanging out again because we stopped hanging out for a little bit. So we started to get back closer again.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't.
We stopped for a little bit.
A little
like
bit,
December,
like we just because we used to hang out like almost every day. Yeah. So we just kind of like went where we would hang out like maybe like once a week or like once every 2 weeks, something like that. It didn't last that long, but yeah, maybe for like a month. And then after that, we would hang out. Long story short, we were a part of I was a part of 2 nonprofit organizations. He was too, but he was like the founder of one of the nonprofits. So one of the nonprofits, we were doing outreach for the homeless. So we were, providing food and like prayer and conversation and things like that. If we had clothes and stuff like that. So I liked doing it, and so did he. So there was actually one night we were hanging out. I don't remember how this happened, but I think we were doing something, and we actually saw someone who was, homeless, who needed something. So we, talked to them. We actually got his phone number, reached out to him, and like I would say maybe like once a week, maybe.
Probably like once or twice a week we would go give this dude food.
Yeah, so we would go and
just
like talk to him,
dude.
give him food. Yeah, it was like one specific guy. And just kind of like get updates, see how he's doing, see if we can help in any type of way. And then long story short, in that process of us doing that with the man that was homeless, and helping him, I started to just think to myself, okay, like maybe I'm just blocking my blessing. Like maybe I'm choosing not to see it or not letting it happen. Like maybe I'm just forcing myself not to take a chance or not to like take a step into, getting to know him in like a relationship type of way. So then from there on, that's when I was just kind of like, okay, God, like, whatever's in your hands, and like, I'll be more open to it, So at that time, I don't remember how he found out or if we had a conversation.
About you liking me?
Yeah.
I think I kind of figured it out because, mind you, her birthday and Valentine's Day are in the same month. It's like 2 weeks, a week and a half away. Mm-hmm. So I remember, even though like I could start telling that she would look at me a little bit differently, like I could just tell something was starting to change. So I remember Valentine's Day, I got her like something small. I didn't go crazy. Remember, I got you the thing that says "You are loved."
Oh yeah.
Right, I got her that, and I don't think I got her flowers. I was like, I I want to give her something, but I don't want it to just be like her to feel overwhelmed. I feel like flowers have been too much, but I did get her something that said "You are loved." And then for her birthday, I remember I got her something else. I forgot.
Me
Sandals, yeah. And I just wanted to let her know, man, like I wanted to be different. I wanted to show her that I was different, that I wasn't in this for sex. I wasn't in this just to bag her. I wasn't in this just to have fun. Like I'm in this because I see a godly woman, and a godly woman deserves a godly man. So
amen.
Yeah. And then like I would say, like I noticed she liked me. I would say around like February, like from the beginning of February to around like the middle of March is like that's when she started liking me. That's when like that's when she liked me. Like that's when I noticed she liked me. And then like I was like, all right, like I moved a little fast, guys. I was just like, I want to make her my girlfriend. So that kind of leads us to what happened in March.
When we kissed?
We kissed. Right before I asked
this man didn't even ask nothing. He just tried to kiss me, bro.
Whoa. It wasn't that I just tried to kiss her. But we're going to save that for next week. We're going to save that for part 3. We're going to save that for part 3, y'all. So part 3 coming next week. And that is going to be the story of how we finally got together and got engaged and now preparing for marriage. How God kind of sealed the deal on our love story. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.